Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Doug's on 503, talking all things Oregon football. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed already, go and smash those buttons below to join the Doug Zone family where we're always talking Oregon football. As you guys know, at Doug Zone 503 on Instagram, Twitter, locked. A lot of you guys are locked in with me on the social medias, Instagram and Twitter. Come on, guys, you got to go hit that follow button if you want to be a locked in member with the Doug Zone family. And then last but not least, we got scoopduck.com of On3 Sports. A lot of you guys know already, I'm a writer there. Okay, I cover recruiting, all things recruiting for Oregon football at scoopduck.com. Got a whole team of guys really covering all of Oregon football over there. A lot of guys been doing it for a lot of years as well. So glad to be part of that team at scoopduck.com. Go ahead and subscribe over there as well. All right, guys. It's glad to be back. Really appreciate you guys. I was on vacation for a few days, went out to Las Vegas for Halloween weekend and stuff like that. Had an amazing time, but it's time to get back to business, right? We got our preview and prediction episode today. We got our number 8, sticking at number 8 in the new college football playoff rankings that just came out. Our Oregon Ducks sitting right outside the college football playoff. All we got to do is just keep handling business and see what happens, right? 7-1 on the season, 5-0 in conference play. Only Pac-12 team that's still undefeated in conference play. Going on the road to play the Colorado Buffaloes, who, just to put it straight up, have really bad season. Okay, no disrespect to the Buffaloes, but they're 1-7, 1-4 in conference play. Okay, a lot of national pundits pick these guys to be last in the conference this year. They've had a lot of turnover to the transfer portal, coaching turnover. They don't have I don't even know if they have an NIL collective going yet, but they're kind of just not with the times just yet. They don't really have an identity. A lot of young guys, a lot of turnover. It's just what happens. You kind of seen with Oregon in 2016, 2017 years when this kind of happened to them a little bit. It's kind of what what the Buffaloes are going through now. Every program kind of goes through it a little bit, except the Blue Bloods. They kind of seem to bounce back a little bit, kind of quicker. But the Buffaloes are going through it. And then the Pac-12, with them kind of getting dismantled a little bit with USC and UCLA out. We don't know what Oregon, Washington, what these teams are really going to do. And, things are kind of playing out. Things are shifting. So things are not looking good for Buffalo. Things are looking a little eerie for the Buffaloes Colorado Buffaloes. And, but the good thing is this game is going to be played on Folsom Field for them. They're at home against the Ducks. There is a good fan base for them. They do show up whether the team's bad or good. 12:30 kickoff time. So when the Ducks play on the road, I really like that time. Not so much when they're at home. As some of you guys watch my channel, I hate the 12:30 kickoff times when they're at home because I go to the games, man. That's a really early time for me to be getting up. For me, at least, man. I hate those early games. But when they're on the road, man, I love it because it gives you a chance to watch your game and then have the whole day to watch the rest of the game. So it's great. Then Oregon is a 31.5-point favorite. So that even makes it better when it's an early game because you kind of just get it over with, big touchdown, about 4 touchdown favorite for the Ducks. ESPN gives the Ducks a 95.6% chance to win. All right, so guys, this is the first game in Boulder since 2015, actually. So it's good to kind of get out there, not a familiar scene, kind of like the Arizona game, right? Haven't been into these places in a while. And going out there to Boulder since 2015, where Oregon won that game back then, 41-24. So getting business handled there. The Buffaloes have not been good, to keep it simple. They're near the bottom in the country in almost every statistical category there is, to be honest with you. They've had coaching change, they've had quarterback change, and this young Colorado team is just really just trying to find their identity. The Buffaloes, like I said, they've had a lot of turnover on their coaching staff and their roster from last year to this year. And then even halfway through the season, they fire their coach and their defensive coordinator. And the transfer portal age, they've lost some guys as well. So it's just been tough, I mean, just look at the Ducks roster, right? You got defensive back Christian Gonzalez, who transferred from Colorado last year. And you could say Gonzalez is literally the best defensive back on Oregon's team, right? And then when I mentioned the coaches, we got defensive back coach Demetrius Martin, aka Coach Meat. Yee. He's coming from Colorado last year. And his son, a big time 4-star 2023 defensive back recruit, matter of fact, Cole Martin, he's committed to Oregon. So just imagine if his pops was at Buffalo's. I'm not saying he would choose Colorado just because of that. He probably didn't. I don't think he chose the Ducks just because of his dad coaching here, but I think that's a big part of it, right? Colorado, they did show they can win though. They have their one lone win over Cal, and that did come at home. So that's something to note there. If you're Oregon, where did they win? They did, they feel comfortable at home, and their fans showed up for that one. It was. I think it was a sellout crowd for them, and that's a one win or a zero loss team at that point in time, and they show up and get the win over Cal. So you can imagine, this place might be rocking for the Ducks, or the attitude might be for Buffalo fans that the Ducks might just be too good and we're not going to spend our time over there. Who knows, when it's 31.5 point spread. But Colorado shows they can win. That's the most important thing. And then their fans do show up win or loss. So all time in this series, Oregon leads the series 14-9. Since Colorado joined the Pac-12 in 2011, Oregon has pretty much dominated the Buffaloes 7-1 since 2011. Oregon has pretty much walked all over the Buffaloes since joining the Pac-12. Actually, this is a really impressive stat. The Ducks have not lost in Boulder since 1985. Man, since the 80s. Because Colorado wasn't in the Pac-12 since 2011, there wasn't a lot of matchups with Oregon, in Boulder. So, but since joining the Pac-12, there's been a few, and Oregon has won 4 matchups in Boulder since that point. All right. So previewing Colorado's season here, they're 1-7, 1-4 in conference play. Like I said, I'll just go through the games real quick. Lost 38-13 against TCU at home. Lost 41-10 at Air Force. I mean, you're losing to 31 points to an academy team. Sheesh. Lost 49-7 at Minnesota. Lost 45-17 against UCLA, so just non-competitive in any of these games. Lost 43-20 at Arizona, and then they finally get a win, 20-13 in overtime at home against the Cal Bears. And then they come back against Oregon State at home, 42-9 loss there. And then last week they were competitive in this one, guys. They kind of found their offense. Lost 42-34, close game against Arizona State, though. So Arizona State is not impressive either. But man, just not really competitive in any of these games besides the Cal and Arizona State game. And I mean, their offense, what I could say is their offense did look better than I've ever, seen their offense play in that Arizona State game. They got, about 34 points scored. That's the most they've scored all season. But I mean, that Arizona State squad doesn't have much expectations. They're not that great either. Losing after losing 5 straight games. They fired their former head coach Karl Dorrell and defensive coordinator Chris Wilson. Intern coach Mike Stafford led them to that lone overtime win over Cal. So it's always good to see that interim coach kind of step in and get a win, kind of motivate that team not to give up, right? On offense, they're led by quarterback JT Shrout. Shrout has the lowest completion percentage, passing yards, and efficiency rating in the conference. He's in line to be the Pac-12's. He's in line to be the first Pac-12 quarterback since 2009 who has qualified statistically to finish a season completing less than 52% of his passes. This season in 2022, he has about 729 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions at a 43.1 completion percentage rating. So just to put it simple, those numbers are just not going to get it done. Quarterback play, a lot to do with football and winning. Okay. If your quarterback play is just not there, you're not going to win in the game of football. Okay. And I mean, in line to be the first Pac-12 quarterback since 2009, who is qualified statistically to finish a season completing less than 52% of his passes is just wow. It makes me say wow. Not to say he's horrible, and you just got to go through your lumps. These are young guys, okay? With a lot of turnover, they're trying to find their identity, a lot of coaching turnover. I mean, you got to give it to them, right? And these guys are battling. It's also important to note, though, he's also split time. You'd say 729 yards, 5 touchdowns. Those numbers kind of low, right? was also split time with the freshman quarterback Owen McCowan. When you're trying to find your identity as a young team, you might split time with quarterbacks and see what you got. Owen McCowan, the freshman, played 4 games so far this year, including that Cal win. So the freshman quarterback does have a win under his belt, while JT Shrout, the lead starter so far, does not have a win under his belt. Colorado ranks last or second to last in the Pac-12 in nearly every major statistical category, and in the bottom 10 nationally in scoring and total yards on both offense and defense. So, man, the offense has not looked good for Colorado. Well, you kind of hope for, okay, well, maybe the defense might kind of stand out for Colorado. Well, Buffalo's have been just as bad on defense, unfortunately. They allow their opponents to score about 39.1 points per game. It's almost 40 points per game, guys. 127th in all of college football. They allow their opponents to score 489.3 yards per game. That's 127th in college football. They allow their opponents 6.9 yards per play. 127th in college football. So just near the bottom of every opponent. Third down conversion, 52%, 130th in college football. The only statistical category where they're not ranked near the bottom nationally is opponent red zone scoring. Okay, they allow their opponents to score about 81% of the time in the red zone, which is 43rd in the country. Although, like, that's still not like wow, although the Buffaloes do have some key players that do stand out, though. They got a linebacker, Josh Chandler Samito. He's a West Virginia transfer, third in the Pac-12 in tackles for loss. He has about 10.5 tackles for loss. He has two of Colorado's 6 sacks on the season. And he's made a stop in the backfield in 7 games. So a guy that can get in the backfield, kind of disrupt some things for you, and has played well for them. They got a safety as well, young safety Trevor Woods has 67 tackles on the season, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Playing really well for the Buffaloes there. So they do got some players that can disrupt some things. But in a league like the Pac-12 and going against Oregon especially, you're going to have depth. Okay, that's really what the Colorado Buffaloes are lacking, is depth. Okay, but they do have some good guys making some plays on the defense side of the ball there. So as you guys know, in the preview and prediction episodes, I always love to give my 3 keys to the game. So this is my 3 keys to the game versus Colorado. Number 1 is come ready to play. As you know, and get a fast start, right? Come ready to play and get a fast start. When you're heavily favored this big, you can tend to relax a little bit, right? You can kind of look ahead to the bigger matchups. You got this big stretch of football coming up. And it's just really important to make a statement early and know that you're the better team, no doubt. A fast start is key in this one, I think. That's number 1. Number 2, play clean football, right? Okay, if there's any way there's going to be a huge upset in this game where the Buffaloes come out and win, it's going to have to be some bad football played from the Ducks. Okay, so number 2, play clean football, no turnovers, low amount of penalties, right? Number 3, I got low risk football / stay healthy. Okay, games like this, which indicate a blowout when there's a big gap in talent, it's really important as a coach that you use your depth and you kind of preserve your star players and keep a low risk of injuries, and be smart as a quarterback. Slide down, get a steady rotation of players through the depth chart. This could be a game where we could see like kind of like the Eastern Washington game where you've seen 4th, 5th string walk-on guys come in and make plays, right? That could be that type of game, and just keeping your guys healthy for this next big run. So those are my 3 keys to the game right there. I got number 1, come ready to play and get that fast start. Number 2, play some clean football. And number 3, stay healthy, have low risk, play low risk football, right? All right, guys. So this is my prediction for the game. I'm sure this is 99% of America's prediction right here. Oregon's going to win any way they want. Okay, the gap in talent and depth that Oregon has over the Buffaloes will be exposed on Saturday. Oregon has not lost in Boulder since 1985, and they've won 4 straight since then. Let's make that number 5 in a row on Saturday. I got a final score prediction of Oregon 57, Colorado 20. Okay, I have Oregon winning and covering the spread. And I just don't think Oregon will be stopped at all here. So I'll see you guys Tuesday for the recap and analysis episode on the game. Really appreciate you guys. If you like content like this, go ahead and like and subscribe as well. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at DougsOn503. Don't forget to do that. Last but not least, shout out my guys, ScoopDuck.com. If you guys like the recruiting side of things, I cover recruiting at ScoopDuck.com as a writer. Go check out my articles on there. Really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, baby, go Ducks. Let's go. Let's get this win against the Buffaloes.